welcome back to the Vanity Chair. It's Shay. Today I'm here to share my foundation routine. I live in Northern California and it is summertime. It's the hottest weather we have here. I actually was like cold this morning, that's why I put on this flannel, because it's starting to like change to that cool morning, cool night, but during the day it's still super hot, like in the hundreds. So my foundation routine, when I wear like full coverage, when I'm going to something special or to work or to make a video, is pretty extensive. So I get questions sometimes on how I get my makeup to stay all day. So that's what I'm going to share with you today. Now, like I said, I don't do all these steps every single day. Sometimes I'll just wear a BB cream or just a foundation powder, but this is like what I would do if I had to make my makeup last all day long with full coverage. So first off, also my skin is oily. I have really oily T-zone, not so much on the outer edges, so I guess it's kind of like normal oily, and acne prone. So yes, that is my skin type. If you're a little more dry, you might want to use different products, you know, more cream products than I use, but since I am oily, I like to tend to use more powder products. So if you have any questions about what you should use if you have a different skin type, I can totally give you my advice just from working at Sephora, so comment below if you have any questions. But anyways, let's just hop right into the video. Thanks. The first thing I do every morning when I wake up is wash my face. I don't care if I'm running late, if my alarm clock doesn't go off, I always brush my teeth, wash my face. Like, that's more important to me, washing my face, than going with a full face of makeup somewhere, because I just feel like the makeup doesn't sit well all day. Obviously, if you don't have a clean face, like it's like a canvas, you know, if you don't clean your canvas and have a nice clean canvas to paint on, it's not gonna work. So same thing with your face. Okay, another thing is moisturize. I always moisturize. I don't honestly buy really expensive moisturizers. I have some drugstore ones, and then I usually just like live off of my free like little goodies I get, because I just haven't found one that I absolutely love. I have a Shiseido one that's pretty good for morning actually. I should start using that one again. But anyways, right now I'm just using this little Sephora Instant Moisturizer, and this is my morning time one. At nighttime I like to use a heavier one, but before I apply foundation, you don't want something super heavy unless you're a very dry person. So this is what I start out with, is this right now. It's just, it doesn't have SPF, so if you want SPF, you probably add that in somewhere else. Okay, the next, I already did that by the way, because I like to let it set in a little bit, so I usually put that on after I wash my face, go make coffee, come back and start my makeup. So the next thing is primer. Primer is really important because, especially if you're like an oily person, it'll fill in any pores. You know, if you're a little more mature, it'll fill in fine lines and wrinkles so that the makeup doesn't sink down into your skin and kind of highlight flaws that we have. And then also, a lot of times it helps the longevity, obviously, of your makeup. So right now I'm using the Cover FX Mattifying Primer. I like this one. I know it's important to use primer, that's why I do it, but I honestly don't feel like, I use a bunch of different ones, and I don't feel like one so far has like really made that huge of a difference. I feel like I can tell if I don't have one on, but as far as like a favorite, I kind of switch between that one right now. The Professional's good if you're oily. I use Smashbox ones a lot, so whatever works for you. And so I just kind of rub it all around and then press it in so that it sinks down into any lines, wrinkles, pores, that sort of thing. The cool thing about that one actually is it has a 1%, I think, of 1% salicylic acid. So if you are having any like breakouts like I am, that'll kind of help combat your acne while you're wearing makeup. Okay, so after that's on, next thing we want to do is go in and do liquid foundation. I kind of hop around between a bunch, obviously, because I just always like trying new stuff. But this is my favorite right now. It's Makeup Forever Matte Velvet Plus. It's a matte finish. And I like it because it's a full coverage, but if you go in and don't put so much on, you know, it's not super heavy feeling on my skin. Like I wear a Kat Von D a lot too, and that you could feel that you have makeup on. This one isn't super heavy feeling like that. So anyways, this is a Real Techniques buffing brush. I have a bunch of foundation brushes, but this is just my favorite that I always go back to. So I just kind of like get it on there, and then I start moving it around and just kind of dabbing it in. You don't want to go in and like put a bunch of foundation right on your face, because if you go in with too much, it's kind of hard to get it off. So I always like squirt it on my hand and grab more as I go. You know, just you don't want it to be too much. You can always go in with more. Okay, so then I just get it all up in my hairline just to make sure everything blends. And then you just want to carry it down because you don't want it to ever end like, you know, you want it to blend into your skin. So as you can see, that's pretty full coverage. You can still see like some of my breakouts I'm having. That's okay, because we're gonna go back with some concealer. Okay, so same thing as I said with my foundations and primers. I never use the same of everything. Like, I feel like I get too bored if I do that. So, and different, you know, one week I might be a little more dry, more oily, more acne prone. It might be hotter outside. So you do want to kind of tweak your routine depending on all of those factors. This is my favorite though all year round. It's MAC Pro Longwear. I really like NARS Radiant Creamy Concealer too, but this one is, if I had to pick one, I would go with the MAC one. So this actually, the one thing that I don't like about this is that it's really hard to pump out a little bit and you only need a little bit. So I feel like I do waste a lot. But anyways, I just do a pump, try to do like a half a pump. And then I just kind of get it on my fingers and I put it in like a triangle shape underneath of my eyes. And I always do a shade or two lighter than my skin, just because I like to highlight under the eyes. That's NW20. Sometimes I'll even do NW15 if I want it really highlighty. Any leftover I have, I just kind of put anywhere else like in the center of your face that you'd want to highlight, just because it is a little lighter. If you want to use the same color, you can totally do that. You know, it just gives your face a little more of like a flat look if everything's the same. So this kind of helps it look like highlighted and contoured kind of without doing much work. Okay, so to rub that in, you can completely just use your finger, a beauty blender. I always use brushes most of the time. My favorite is the Sigma Tapered Kabuki, the F86. I'm going to do one on each side so you guys can see, because I have been hopping back and forth between these two. At work, this is the brush I always grab. It's from Sephora. It's called the Pro Airbrush Concealer number 57. I just actually bought this for my own personal use and I love it. So anyways, we'll go in with this. So the one upside about the Sigma one is it's huge. So it's really fast. You see, like, this is already almost done. But, you know, I am 24 and I don't have like too much crazy stuff going on by my eyes. So if you're a little bit more mature and you have a lot more like fine lines and stuff like that, this one would probably appeal to you more. I still like it, even, you know, me right now. But this one's smaller, so you can go in and kind of like place the concealer up closer next to your eye. Like, the cool thing also is for blemishes, like this one is good to just like go around a little blemish, little airbrush buff motion, and around your nose. So yeah, you know, I use so many different brushes that I feel like I can kind of tweak it to how I want. Even if I'm using like this big one, I just go slower, like right under there, I would just go slower. But I just wanted to show you these two because these are my favorite brushes right now. I love these brushes. Okay. So we carried a little concealer up here, so make sure you just kind of blend that out. I'm going to be wearing a pretty colorful lip today, so I'm just kind of going around there so it doesn't bleed. Okay, after I've done moisturizer, primer, foundation, concealer, next I go in and I set it all with a powder. Usually you would want to use a setting powder, but it's real life, I'm telling you what I really do. I always go in with a foundation powder, usually. This one is my new love. I love it. If you guys haven't seen it yet, go into Sephora and check it out. It's Too Faced Cocoa Powder Foundation, and it smells like cocoa. It's made with cocoa powder, just like the bronzers are. So if you wanted, you could just, some days I do this, you could just go in with this as your foundation without the liquid and stuff, but for full coverage, this is what I do. And I just take it on any kabuki brush. This one is a bronzer brush, actually. It's number 44 from Sephora, and I just kind of like dab it all over. And I'm, you know, like I said in the beginning, I'm oily, so if you are dry, putting like all this powder, you might not want to do that. You might want to just stick with the liquid and stop there. Okay. And same with my foundation. I didn't really take it up next to my eye because I'm going to go back and do that with a different setting powder. We just want, oops, dropping stuff. We just want our under eyes to be highlighted, same reason that we use the lighter concealer. So I'm gonna go in, I usually swirl these two together. It's Emphasize and Accentuate. They're shaping powders from MAC. You can also use like any translucent setting powder. You can use the ambient lighting powders from Hourglass. I keep having my eyes on those. I really want to buy them, but you know, they're a little more pricey and I just have this, so I always go and use this. So this is a tapered highlighter from Sigma. It's at F35. I also use a lot of times, oh, you guys saw my weird clip, didn't you? This is an e.l.f. blush brush. It's $3 at the drugstore. This is a little bigger, but I always use this one too, just depending which one I grab. So that's a lot cheaper version. But anyways, I just kind of dab underneath of my eye in that same shape that I had the concealer. So a triangle. If you want it more highlighted, just grab Emphasize, but I don't want it like super, so I kind of blend the two together. And same thing, throw any extra all over where we put the extra concealer. That's really important. That'll help anything that's liquid, if you want it to stay all day, really like set in there, set it with a powder. Now, the reason people use a setting powder versus a foundation powder is that setting powders are usually milled finer, like the powder's finer, and it's like a lighter formula. So that's the difference between like a setting powder or a foundation powder, just so you know. Okay, now that we've done that, the next step is bronzer. My go-to is Hoola from Benefit. It's my favorite. I like it because I'm pretty fair and it's not super dark. Sorry, I have like brush hair somewhere. Okay. It's not super dark, so I don't go in and I'm like, bronzer, I have to blend out. This one is pretty light, so I feel like I can build it up. This is just, what is this? A complexion powder number 31 from Sephora. Any brush will do. You could even do it on this kabuki brush, a blush brush, whatever, and I just go and I kind of warm up my face in circles in the cheek area. Same thing, get it in your hairline, so you don't want it to like start here and not blend out. I remember wondering what the difference was between bronzing and contouring. Bronzing, as far as I know, is just when you're like warming up the face. You're just bringing like warmth, making it look like you're sun-kissed, that kind of thing, which is what we're doing right now. We're just kind of fluffing it around. You want to do your cheeks, kind of around the hairline, the outsides of your face, okay? Now, contouring is when you go in and kind of like chisel out your cheekbones, make it look like you're like, you know, I don't know how to, what are the words? I'm at a loss of words. We're just kind of fluffing this around. Contouring, we go and concentrate the bronzer in certain areas to highlight or like what's that word? Like put back places of your face, okay? So, after I do that, sometimes I stop there, but if I want to, and get it on your neck too. If I want to contour, this is when I do that. My favorite brush is the NARS Ita brush to do this, just because I like how skinny it is for like the cheekbone area. If you have anything that's like smaller, like this is also a contour brush. There's so many different types of contour brushes. You could actually just like take that same brush we used to bronze and squeeze it. Same thing. This is just, I'm a weirdo and I love brushes, and so why not get one for everything in the world. But anyways, so now we're gonna go in and do that. So I just get some on my brush. And I just kind of like to make it look like I have cheekbones because I have a pretty round face, like especially when I smile. So this just kind of slims out the face a little bit. All right, and then I just flick any additional product up because you don't want the hollow of your cheek to be really thick. That won't make us look like we have high up cheekbones. It'll kind of bring them down. So you never want to like be all over the place. You want to put it right where your hollow of your cheek will be, and then flick the rest kind of up. So I'm going to do the same on the other side. And sometimes I'm still perfecting this. Like I've looked back in pictures and I'm like, whoa, one cheekbone looks way higher. So, you know, it takes practice. Okay. So I also like to, does that look even? I also like to kind of do this around the hairline. And I'm doing so many steps. This is like what I do if I have a lot of time. I don't do this every single day. And if you have a little bit, like my nose is a little bit crooked, so you can also kind of correct things like that with contouring really quick. I'm still kind of practicing this too, but it kind of goes like more this way, so I just kind of like contour off that side, if if that makes sense. And then I just kind of like throw some on this side that's straight. So hopefully that makes it a little straighter, but what do? Put on a lot of eye makeup and then it makes your eyes stand out instead. Okay, so that is done with contouring. Next we want to add blush. You can use any blush brush will work. I happen to have the F10 powder blush brush from Sigma. And I'm so excited because if you guys watch my Vegas Lights video from Makeup Geek, that palette, I was talking about how I wanted to add order more Makeup Geek, and I did. I got some blushes, so I'm really happy. This is Spellbound, and this is like my favorite out of the three. I got Bliss and Head Over Heels. They're so pretty. It's just a nice matte pink that will match kind of anything you're doing, so you don't have to worry about it being too cool or too warm. So I load up my brush with a little bit of that. And I just kind of start on like the center of my cheek right there, and I smile, and then I bring it up right there to the apple of my cheek. And then just so that it blends, I'll kind of like carry anything left over kind of back, but I don't put like too much back there. Okay, same thing on the other side. And I dab, I don't really know why, I just kind of do that. If you want, you can kind of go in a circle. I don't know why I dab, I just noticed I did that. On other people, I think I do a circle, I don't know. I'll have to pay attention today at work. Okay, so that is our blush. Some people will like throw any additional blush everywhere else. I don't really do that. You can if you want to add a little rosiness to other areas of your face. Lastly is a highlight. Now, I don't really have a brush I'm loving to highlight. It's funny because that F35 that I use to set my under eye is called tapered highlighter, but I don't know why. I don't know, I don't love it to highlight. So if you have a good highlighter brush, let me know. What I've been doing recently is just taking my blush or my bronzer brush and I'm using Opal from Becca, of course. If you guys have watched my last few little videos, I love this highlighter. And I just like dab the corner of it like that and just sweep it across the highlight area of my cheekbone. So where you want to place highlighter is like if the sun was shining down on you, all the high points of your face. So the cheekbones would be the highest, the bridge of your nose, maybe a little up on your forehead, above your lip, you know, the center. I've heard in lots of videos that I've watched, and I learned this in beauty school and from Sephora, that it's like a little heart kind of in general. You know, you want like around your eyes, like your under eye, your nose to be highlighted, and then you want like the edges to be contoured, kind of bronze. So that is all the product we're gonna put on. So last is finishing spray, and that's what I dropped earlier, so let me grab it. MAC Fix Plus is my favorite. I have the Urban Decay ones, I've used the Makeup Forever ones, some NYX ones. I don't feel like any of those are bad. Like I totally would repurchase those, but this one is just my favorite. I love it. It works good for my skin. I can totally tell that it makes my makeup stay all day long with this. I honestly notice when I don't have this on. Plus it's kind of cool to make your eyeshadow. Like today I put on some pigment and stuff, and this kind of makes it glow more. Okay, so I think you're supposed to do an X and a plus sign. I just kind of do two center, two on each side. Like that. And then you want to let that dry. Now what this is going to do is make all the powder like set to your skin so that it doesn't look super powdery and makeup-y. And also it'll help the longevity of your makeup. This is also a refresher spray, so sometimes I'll carry like I have like a $10 one. It's like a travel, what's it called? Size to go, that's what it's called on the website. And I just throw that in my purse and I'll kind of refresh throughout the day. If you're a dry person, you would love doing that. I'm oily and I still love it. So anyways, that is all I do for my skin. So I'm gonna go back, do my eyebrows real quick, underneath all my eyeshadow and my lips, and I'll be right back. Okay, I am back. In case anyone's curious, I just put on the Miss Mia Wallace 24/7 liner from Urban Decay all over my lips. This is limited edition, but you can still get it. It's part of their Pulp Fiction collection. And then this is a Revlon Color Burst. This is in 150 Enticing Desirable. So that's what I have on my lips, and I put soft brown dip brow on my eyebrows. So yeah, this is what it looks like once I have all my makeup on. I hope that my foundation routine helps you guys out. If you're a little different skin type, you know, just pick and choose what steps you want to do, see what works for you. And if you have any questions at all, just leave them in the down bar, the comments below, and I will try to get back to you. Thank you so much for watching, everybody, and have a great day.